Daniel Ventura here with the Inspired Mind. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about preparing yourself for reading, right? You might be kind of thinking like, what do you mean prepare yourself for reading? So if you're really into personal development or even just, you have a passion of reading books, some of the tips that had really helped me to read these books and really get into uh, a place of wanting to learn or wanting to read, right? Because a lot of times when I read in an area with a lot of noise or in an area of my home, I can get distracted, right? And I'm not focusing on what I'm reading, right? So some of the tips that I would definitely highly recommend that you consider. One is the location, right? If you're going to be reading in your home, where in a quiet spot can you go? Maybe a spare bedroom, maybe the den, maybe a library, maybe outside on the porch, right? Or the lanai. You want to have an area where you're not going to get distracted, right? Or even just having your cell phone, right? Sometimes we get so distracted with our cell phone that we're not able to focus on what we're reading, right? The temperature. What is the temperature like? Um, Another thing is, if you're reading for learning, have a dictionary available. Sometimes some people use their phones, right? Again, you got to remember that it can get kind of distracting. So either you put it in airplane mode or you silence it, and that way you can really focus on what you're reading. The dictionary actually helps me when I come across words that um, are new to me or I haven't seen it before or I'm unclear what the definition is. I'll go ahead and look it up. I'll be honest, I'll go look it up because a lot of times uh, a word has so many different meanings, right? So I just want to make sure I understand the meaning of a word when I come across it, right? Because again, it can be conveyed in a different way. Another thing is the book, right? So I actually have some books here, right? So like this book here, Little Voice Mastery. This is actually a pretty good book. Um, what you want to do with your book, right? And I've got this from one of the gurus or personal development gurus that he talked about. If you're gonna read, right, go ahead and lay out the book flat. Like he would like tell you to break the spine of the book, like go halfway and just bend it over, uh, you know do a quarter, same thing, quarter. And basically what you're doing is basically just like leaving it like flat, right? Like, or you can just go like this and just like leave it flat, right? And the object is when you have it leaning somewhere, right, you can just read it and not worry about it like closing up on you, right? Because sometimes that can kind of um, throw you off a little, right? Like you're reading, you're getting into it, and the page just starts going like this, and you're like, oh wait, well, where was that at, right? So, just some tips as far as getting yourself um, situated. This way, you can kind of go more into deep thought as you're reading, and you can retain it. The weather, the temperature, the location, right? And kind of, I don't want to say time yourself. I mean, some people can just read a lot. For the ones that do struggle reading, maybe set your alarm for like 15 minutes, because 15 minutes may not be a lot of time to some people. For some, it's like a lot, right? So once you start getting used to it, you start reading more. Because once you start coming across content like this book here, when you start getting across content that you like, right? Because I like this book here. Um, you're gonna take the time to read it and stuff. And if you don't mind, go ahead and get a highlighter and go ahead and mark it up. For myself, I don't normally like to do that. I like to take notes on, in a composition book. Some people actually like to mark it up, and I'm gonna definitely consider that, right? Because this way, it's all in a book, right? Versus me going into like, okay, where's my composition book? I can go ahead and line up my notes and stuff. So, anyways, I hope that helps. Some really tips that those tips had really helped me out as far as getting my mind focused on reading, and create a habit for yourself, create some goals for yourself. Some people like to read a book in a month, right? For me, I don't really set goals like that for myself, because I will go to like my shelf there, and I'll go and pull like different books depending on how I feel, and then I'll look for inspiration in some of my books. Some books I can like this one here, I actually like read the whole thing. Um, so it's really up to you if you want to create a goal for yourself, or if you want to just go ahead and do what I do, is just randomly pull books and look for something that inspires me, because for me, I'm constantly learning. Sometimes I can get kind of bored sometimes reading the same book, so I'll kind of need to switch it up and change it a bit. So anyways, hope those tips help. If you got some better tips, go ahead and comment below.